Hey everyone, Duke here, and today we're going over the second Master Challenge in Crota's End, Precarious Balance. This challenge requires that the bridge be deforming whenever anyone starts to cross the bridge, or in other words, no one can be on the middle plate while the person with the sword or chalice is crossing the bridge. If you're looking for a team to run this with, I'll be doing helps for this challenge on my stream multiple times this week at twitch.tv/dukeiscool, so come on by if you have any questions or want a chance to run. As with the normal encounter, you're going to want a way to consistently and easily stun many anti-barrier champions throughout this encounter. Additionally, new for Master, the 2 ogres at the end of the encounter will now be unstoppables, so be sure that at least a couple members of your team can stun these, or just have a weapon to quickly swap to for this last phase. The strategy that I use on this encounter for all runs that I do is as follows. The first 2 players to get Enlightened will be the 2 players on the middle plate, and they can both use their Enlightened buff on the plate. Next we get the 2 players on the right totem Enlightened. After the second player's chalice is full, it'll get passed back to the first middle plate player so that they can reacquire the Enlightened buff that they lost from using it on the plate. Then get the other player on the middle plate Enlightened, and then get one of your 2 players Enlightened on the left totem, and then the final person will take the chalice and go across with your first sword user. A couple of tips here. First, if you are the second person to get Enlightened on a plate or totem, meet up with the person that's going to grab from you next around 75% charge on the chalice. To make this even safer, you can have the middle plate always rotate to the left or the right totem, as there's no barriers to kill for the middle plate players, so it's a little easier for them to be left on their own. For the challenge itself, make sure that the person with the sword is the only one on the middle plate when you're ready to cross. This is so that once you head straight towards the bridge, no one will be on the plate and the bridge will start to deform right as you're crossing, which is the requirement of the challenge. This timing is exactly perfect for the challenge and lowers the amount of communication required for the first 3 people across. Make sure to jump before the piece of the bridge in front of you despawns, and you can use things like the sword swing, Icarus dash, or grapple to help assist in making the last bit of distance to make things super easy and safe. Remember that with the sword you can use grenades, which is perfect for grapple, but using a class ability will drop the sword and you won't be able to pick it up again as you'll no longer be Enlightened. I'd also recommend to not go across until your chalice player is also ready. This allows you to both go across at the same time, which keeps the timing in sync a bit easier. But more importantly, this will allow for the chalice person to protect the sword player from adds after depositing the chalice. Having this player be a well warlock with Phoenix Protocol means that they can drop a well for each and every sword player as they come across, making survival so much easier. A Banner of War Titan with Suspend is another great option for this player, or again you can use blinding grenades to blind the gatekeepers. Don't forget that the sword will last forever as long as you don't die or drop it, so playing safe and making sure to survive while killing your gatekeeper, even if it takes a few seconds longer, is much better than the alternative. Once 3 players are across, the spawn team side can get safe by going up to the staircase that you load into the encounter from. The 3 that made it across will now need to form the bridge from their side. Remember that the challenge still applies for the final 3 players that need to get across. I'd recommend that the middle plate person on the far side do a 3, 2, 1, go countdown for the timing here, with the current sword holder standing right next to the middle plate on the other side, but not on it so that the side totems don't flame up. At 1 on the countdown, the middle plate person should be coming off of the plate, and on go, the sword user should immediately start running across the bridge. This will replicate the timing as close as possible of what we did for the first 3 players, but just requires a bit of communication in this instance. If for whatever reason someone dies and loses the Enlightened buff before crossing the bridge, have them go last across the bridge. You can use the same strategy we used with getting the first 3 players across, but reversed, with the chalice holder being the only person on the middle plate on the far side, and then running back across the bridge to re-enlighten the player left on the spawn side. If someone happens to die with a sword before killing the gatekeeper and the sword despawns, that's no problem. Once everyone is across, another sword bearer will spawn out the same doors that the gatekeepers normally spawn out of if you haven't already gotten 5 swords preserved, and you'll just need someone with Enlightenment to pick up the sword as normal. Once everyone's across, the encounter is the same as normal, other than the ogres now being unstoppable ogres on each side as mentioned earlier. After defeating these ogres, you'll have the final 5 gatekeepers. Be a bit wary of these, as if all 5 slam down on you, they can potentially kill you even in a well, so just spreading them out a bit, or by being a bit careful or using suspend or potentially blinding grenades, you'll make easy work of them. I hope my guide to the Precarious Balance challenge was helpful, and don't forget I'll be doing helps for this challenge a few times this week on stream if you have any questions or want a chance to run. And as always, thank you so much for watching, and have a wonderful day.